All right, hello everybody, metal maniacs and thrashers alike. It's the Meista from Brews and Tunes. Cheers! And I am absolutely beside myself with excitement tonight. I am chatting with the Hell Destroyer, the one and only Mr. Sean Peck, vocalist, of course, of Cage, Death Dealer, the Three Tremors, Denner and Shermann, Warrior, just so many great bands. Sean, thank you so very much for chatting with me tonight. How you doing, my friend?
It's Cinco de Mayo as we're recording this. I have not had a beer. I'm trying to lose weight, man. I'm like a fat tub of shit right now. So I've been on the treadmill, like trying not to drink beer and eating fucking salmon and goddamn broccoli. It sucks.
I'm sorry. I'm right. I get it. I am drinking a beer. I apologize. Yeah, I need to lose some weight myself. I've been trying to work on that, and yeah, there's just too much good food and too much good beer out there. It's
I know it's just doesn't. It's just everything that tastes good makes you fat. Like who the fuck who thought of that system? It's not
yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, very frustrating. So I guess the big question I have, like kind of right off the bat, is like, what have you been up to lately? What is going on with Mr. Sean Peck right now?
Man, I got a lot of stuff coming. We have a Cage album that we have a ton of songs. I think we have
Oh, nice.
14 mixed and mastered songs already, but like I
Wow.
don't know. I feel like we need to write like three or four more fast ones.
Hmm.
Everything is really, the songs are really good. I went back and listened to it again. We've written them over the last 24 months probably. And so the Cage record's gonna be coming out.
Nice.
I'd say probably 2024,
Okay.
maybe 2023. We have a Death Dealer album that's been done for a long time. Me and Stu in the pandemic, bro, I recorded like 80 songs. I did so much shit.
Yes.
And we that's how we did the EP. We took the Death Dealer EP. We took four songs off the fifth album. So we released three albums. The
Right.
fourth one is gonna we're negotiating with some record labels. And the fifth one, we had so many songs. We took four songs off the fifth one and made an EP just for the
Wow.
fuck of it. And this next Death Dealer album could be our best one. I mean, I know everybody said I never say that, but this could be the best one. There must be something to it because we have like multiple record labels that are kind of like bidding each
Oh,
other.
nice.
In this day and age, that fucking never happens.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good problem to have.
and I'm like, you guys want to put it on up for free on Spotify on day one? That's your fucking problem. As long as they pay for it, they want to. Don't get me started on Spotify. We're in a good. Don't get me started on that. But
Yeah.
we're really excited about the Death Dealer album. There's two music videos. I've already seen them. They're really fucking cool.
Oh, nice.
Um, and there's a superhero song that I've been doing a lot of the comic books, as you can see,
Yes, love
which
it.
have been taking. I've been touring comic book conventions, not touring with the band. So I haven't sang since November. I mean, we're here in May.
Oh, wow.
Um, my drummer Sean L just now in KK's Priest. Ripper stole the Three Tremors drummer, took him over to KK's Priest. Casey, the guitar player, had just got done touring with Trauma with Queensryche,
Oh,
so
nice.
he did that little gig. So he was busy. Now Dave might move to Florida, so we got all kinds of fucking moving parts in the Cage Three Tremors world. And Ripper's been on tour and stuff, so kind of on a little live performance hiatus right now, which has been good. I've been grinding on it for like 30 years, man, like just
Yeah.
nonstop. So this is like the first break I've taken in like 30 years, and now I've got these comic books that are kind of replaced the heavy metal temporarily. It's very similar, it's cool because I sell them online on this Whatnot app. I don't know if you know about the Whatnot app. It's a great place to buy vinyls too.
Oh, nice.
And so I do like these live streams and their auctions. So I get to make funny jokes and talk. And then I sell a lot of records too. I have a pretty big following on it. People find out that I'm in a band and they're like, what? And then you show them and they hear some of the shit and they're just like, no way. They thought I was just some funny guy selling comic books. And then they realize
Yeah.
that I was once a metal god. kind of.
Once, still are, in my opinion. That's for sure. Yeah, and
Right
that's one
on.
thing I've always loved about your music is the sci-fi fantasy comic element that's always, you know, that permeates Cage and Death Dealer and Three Tremors. I think that's amazing. In fact, I'd say, well, I'm really excited that you know the fact that you just said that you feel the next Death Dealer album is the best, or maybe the fourth or fifth one. Yeah.
Well, this will be the fourth one. Yeah, the fourth
Okay.
full one.
Because
And
I thought Conquered Lands was just brilliant from
that's crazy.
cover to cover.
That was like my least favorite record.
Really?
Because we wrote like half of it, and like probably like 75% of it, and then we kind of, I was doing my thing and Stu was doing his thing. Then we went back there, you know, during at the beginning of the pandemic. We're like, let's just fucking finish this thing off, and then we added a few songs, updated those, and I was just like, man, it's good, but it's not, you know, like what, you know, we're done. But after that, we continued on this insane writing spree and did, like I said, a shit ton of songs. Cool. And that came out, and yeah, I was surprised, man. The reaction was incredible for it. But to me, you know, I like the other first two albums better than that one. But I mean, I'm in the minority because a lot of people love that record, like you.
Yeah, well, it's Sorcerer Supreme, man. I mean, I'm a huge sucker for Doctor Strange, so that song just love it. I love it.
Yeah, Vagamoto. I show my comic people. That's one of the, when I got to show them a music video and say, yeah, I sing in a band. That's the one I show them because it's got all the superhero shit. But I can leak a name of a song that we have that opens the new album. It's called Assemble, and it's a sick Avengers one. It's nice. Really good.
Very cool.
So that's the superhero song on the next record. Then on the Cage record, I can reveal we have a song called Midnight Suns, which is the Midnight Suns are like Morbius, Blade, Werewolf by Night, Ghost Rider. It's kind of a horror superhero team. They just made a video game that just came out for all the consoles called Midnight Suns. Yeah, same kind of thing. So there's one of those songs on that album too.
I love it. And you've done a Ghost Rider song before with Cage.
Spirit of Vengeance. That song's a masterpiece, dude. That's a Spirit of Vengeance. That's a good one.
That might possibly be my favorite Cage song ever. And I'm a massive Ghost Rider, huge. In fact, Ghost Rider was the very first comic book I ever bought when I was 7.
Don't even get close. If you're gonna, let me show you some. That right there, there's the first Ghost Rider, there's second Ghost Rider, third Ghost Rider, first Moon Knight. I mean,
that's so cool.
Yeah, I've got a gnarly, well, I call it the Midnight Suns wall.
I love that. That is great. That is so cool. Oh, that's amazing. So I guess the most recent album that you did was the Guardians of the Void with the Three Tremors. And of course, for those not familiar, Three Tremors is with Ripper, with Tim Ripper Owens, and then Harry from Jag Panzer, another favorite band of mine, Mr. Harry the Tyrant. So and I know it's probably his move to Greece has complicated things a little bit too in terms of touring. And
well, it made it easier when we tour Europe. That's for sure. Yeah, he's already out there. We just got the vinyls in too after like a million years waiting for the fucking. I've been on a vinyl. I don't know if you're part of the pre-order or anything, but we went through hell with the vinyls. The Canadian company was a nightmare. Then nobody would take any. They wouldn't even take the order. They're like, we're not taking any new business. I'm like, well, you won't take any new business. So we had to finally get a company in Sweden to make them, and we got them like last week, and they look incredible. They're fucking sick looking. So we're going to be shipping out the vinyls for Guardians of the Void. But and then we just did a couple shows in November. We did a Mexico festival. We played San Diego. We played a festival in Los Angeles with the Tremors. So pretty recently, we had that band together, and it's cool because we just do no rehearsals and we just get up there and start fucking wailing. It's really fun.
Nice. And of course, the band is basically Cage. Yeah, which is cool. So I guess that's one thing I'm really curious about. How did, and I know this goes back to 2018 ish.
Yeah.
How did that band come about? How did the Three Tremors? What was the impetus of that?
Well, it was my, um, I was just thinking about the Three Tremors. I go, it's never going to happen with Halford and Dickinson, and it's never going to. So why don't I do a version of it? And I knew I wanted Ripper, and I knew the only way that I would be in part of it is if I started it. So that was one of the moves. And then I can tell you a little secret, like that I haven't told anybody, but the other person that agreed to do it, the third person was Ralph Sheepers.
Oh, wow.
I haven't told that to anybody yet, but I have to say that before I go to my deathbed or anything. That
Yeah,
yeah.
wow,
So
that's fascinating.
Ralph agreed to do it even before I got a hold of Tim,
Oh,
and
really?
so then went to we all played a show in Israel, which was an incredible lineup. It was like Titans of Metal. The lineup was insane. Me, him, Ripper, fucking. You got to look that up. The Chuck Billy, Uli John Roth, Hank Shermann, Michael Denner, Ross the
Jeez.
Bot. The lineup was astounding. And so we met out there. We took a few pictures, and then we started. Initially, the idea was I was going to have like all kinds of different musicians from all over, contributing. And I talked to a bunch of them. Everybody was fucking down for it, and everyone was excited about it. And then I started thinking, like, man, for me to really make this a thing we're going to be able to play, I might as well just use the Cage band because we can rehearse here, we can write the songs here, we're all together, logistically way easier. And then I think Ralph kind of started getting a little weird. Well, what happened was Tim and Blaze Bailey and Jeff Tate did that Trinity thing, which was just a couple live shows. And then they recorded a horrible song on Jeff Tate's album, which was just garbage.
Yeah.
And Ralph, I think, got a little weirded out by that. That was one of the things like, oh, they already did it. I go, dude, by the time we get our shit together, no one's even going to fucking remember that.
Yeah.
And so I'm really good friends with Ralph. He's fucking great dude. And I met him way back in 2002, I think, at Bakken or something. And we were at Keep It True doing the Warrior thing, and I was just, we were partying with Jag Panzer and hanging out, and I always thought about Harry. I go, hey man, would you be into, doing that? And Harry's like, fuck yeah, And so then it was three American guys. I'm like, okay, well now this is the American version of the Three Tremors too, because would have been two British guys and Jeff Tate, and we just started finally, once we cleared our plate of everything, we started really. That's why there hasn't been a Cage album in so long, because Cage basically put out two albums. They were just called the Three Tremors.
Right. Yeah.
So it was like, when you haven't put out an album since 2014? Like, no, we put out two albums, but they're called the Three Tremors. So then we finally, honed enough songs, and then went through the process of having everybody sing it. I sang the entire. That's why there's the solo versions on that first record, because I sang the entire thing, and then they would kind of follow along. We had Harry at first was kind of trying to, he's doing his own fucking thing. I go, dude, we got to match, or it ain't gonna fucking work. Like, you got great ideas, like, but you got to sing the same fucking melodies and the same.
Right.
You could throw in some cool shit, but if it's got to be relatively similar for us to piece all this shit together. And then we've done almost 100 shows together as the Three Tremors.
Nice. Wow. That's great. Yeah. And it's such a cool, man. I'll admit, when I first read about it, I'm like, that's weird. And then I heard it and I'm like, this is fucking amazing. This is such a great, because you guys have not necessarily similar voices, but I mean, you're all Tremors. So, I wasn't sure what it would be like. And then when I heard it, I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. I love this. It's so cool.
Well, I mean, and, as much as I love Dickinson and Halford, I mean, the shit we did was way more vicious than anything they would have ever fucking done.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I agree.
They would have done some cool mid-tempo metal, but they wouldn't have had any fucking bullets for the damn speed metal shit. Or we really, the first album Stu says, he goes, Mike, you put a fucking nuclear bomb in people's ears on the first one. Because the first one got a lot of fucking hate, man. The first one was, people were
Really?
like, yeah, it was too much for a lot of people. I'm like, that's when we realized how many pussies there were in heavy metal. We're just like, too much? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking about? But live, dude, we would fucking sell it live. People were just like, dude, this is so many. When we did that first European tour, people are like, may I speak with you for a moment? I have been to over 1,000 metal shows, and this is one of the greatest shows of it. So we got a lot of that because live it was fucking, almighty with the three of us up there just
Oh,
devastating it. So and then the songs were good too. If you don't have good songs, it doesn't matter what the fuck you got.
yeah.
So having good songs was the prime importance. But when we did the second album, that was more mid tempo, more not as fucking crazy. And everyone's like, oh, this one's fucking great. I'm like, yeah, because you're a fucking pussy. No. But yeah, the second album came out really good too. So when we tour, we have a nice mixture of both albums. And for what we cut out, like when we did the first tour, we had like me, Tim, and Harry would each sing a song from our own catalog by ourselves,
Mm,
and then
yeah.
we had like two covers. And now and plus we played the entire first album, and we played it in its entirety. And now there's like we would do Heaven and Hell, and that was the rest was all original shit. And that first Tremors tour in Europe, everything got fucked up, and we had to do our own release and shit. And so the album wasn't even out. So we were touring playing a album in its entirety, and no one had heard but like one fucking song, and they were just like fucking digging it on these songs that they had never heard before. So
Nice.
that was, that's when I knew we had a great record, because we had just done 30 shows with people that had never heard it before, loving it. And so when these reviews came out on how shitty it was, I'm like, it didn't really phase me, because like I'd already tested these songs out with 30 live audience, and they fucking loved the shit out of it. So your little desktop review doesn't really fucking mean much.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I listen to that album. I pull that album out all the time. I think it's a fantastic album.
Nice.
Yeah, and I as you mentioned, the solo. I thought that was a cool idea. The fact that you guys, the three of you recorded the entire album, released the entire album just as a solo project. I thought that was like a really interesting, brilliant, kind of different take on it as well, which was cool and interesting to hear, and the different versions. So yeah, great stuff. Yeah, so I look forward to more to come from the Three Tremors as well. So
Well, we'll see. That'll definitely be something off in the future. We gotta let KK's pre-cycle, and
yeah.
whatever else everybody's gonna do, and then see how we feel about maybe taking another kick at the can. But we have so much material written, we could probably do it pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, all three of you are all. I mean, three of some of the hardest workers in the metal industry.
I
Very
was
well. Now you're a comic book guy.
until like 6 months ago.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're the comic book guy from.
Now I'm the hardest comic book fucking worker in the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's wow. That's. I would love to see that in person someday. That is an amazing collection. That is beautiful.
Yeah, it's sick.
Very nice. Yeah, yeah. I've been following you on Facebook and Instagram. Just some of the pictures you've been posting the last few weeks. Like, oh my god, that comic book! It's so amazing. Oh, it's just the.
That's fun as shit. I just picked up an X-Men 1, like that kind of shit. And other people invest in stocks, and they've been losing their fucking ass. I'm like, you should have just let me buy comic books with it, dude. You fucked up. My buddy like 3 weeks ago bought $100,000 First Republic stock and lost it all.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, you should have just let me buy a couple fucking first Spider-Mans, and you'd have been fine.
Yeah, and they'll just keep going up. Keep going up. Keep going up. So let's, if you don't mind, I'd like to go in the Wayback Machine, take a ride in the Wayback Machine, and talk about how this all happened, how this all got started. Like, did you come from a musical family? What was, how did you get into music originally? How did you get into metal as well?
So I was going to high school in Palmer, Alaska, which we just played Alaska in November. Finally got to bring my band up there and play.
Oh, nice.
And I was into Flock of Seagulls and the Cars and Blondie, and that kind of shit. And then it was off the Diary of a Madman album, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. Like something about that song just like fucking grabbed me. And then my dad worked for the airline, and we had, we were from San Diego, so we flew down here, and relatives and friends and shit on vacation all the time. And then my friends down here were like, dude, have you heard Scorpions Blackout? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And so they turned me on to all kinds of that shit. Then I went back up to Alaska, and like my friends were already into fucking Black and Blue, Hold On to 18, and Rat came out, and freaking, all the heyday. So that was like, I graduated in 1985 and immediately moved down to San Diego to go to college, San Diego State. So I was like a full on metal coming from Alaska where there wasn't shit into. But the first show I saw was Anchorage. It was Dokken on the Tooth and Nail tour with Dio.
Wow.
And Dokken fucking blew Dio out of the fucking wall. It wasn't even close, dude.
Really?
Dokken fucking smashed Dio that night. I left like halfway through Dio. We picked up a couple chicks and took them to Thunderbird Falls. You can do the math. And then when I came down to San Diego, like the first night, I think I went and saw Kix, Kix playing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what? They're fucking playing at something. I was like blown away at this club, and right in the Southern California scene with all these killer local bands, and then all that, in the heyday of heavy metal, Iron Maiden, or all these arena metal, Priest in the arena. And so I was just like, I thought to myself, it's way too much work to learn how to play guitar. Like, fuck that. So I go, I'll just be a world-class heavy metal singer. I just decided, yeah, that's what I'll do. So I was always class clown, making funny voices and shit. And so then I'd be air guitaring and singing in my bedroom and shit, and could kind of, imitate it. And then there was a band playing at a little pool party at the college. And I got up there, they had like a little Radio Shack mic with like a 2-foot cord. And I started like trying to sing, and they go, hey dude, we need a singer. Do you want to come and try and sing with us? And that band was called Tax Evasion. I had the tape here somewhere. Here you go. Look at it. I got the frickin', this thing's worth money right here. This is the first.
Oh wow. Tax Evasion. I love it.
And so then we played a bunch of covers, and then we had some, we had like 4 originals, but it's mostly like hard rock kind of covers. And then we played tons of college parties. So it was like Louie Louie. We had to play all that college shit. And then that was tough because, I was learning how to sing, and there was like, you're doing like 3 sets for like 2 hours each. And so like,
jeez,
I was like, man, I don't know if I could sing this long. And plus at that age, I'm partying and drinking and shit the whole time. So, but we played humongous shows with that band, like thousands and thousands of people at these San Diego State college parties, just up there like sucking. But so we'd play all these college songs, and we'd break out like The Trooper, and 6 drunk dudes would get up front and bang their head, and all the girls were horrified.
right.
But so I learned how to perform in front of a large crowd early on because of that. But the funny thing was, we started getting gigs to go play like regular like clubs, like metal bands would play at clubs. So we'd be in this group of like super pro, super talented original metal bands, and we were like college shorts, not that good, playing like 70% covers and like 3 originals. And these other bands, but because we were in this college scene, we had a network of people. We would just draw shit tons of people, and that's all the promoter cared about was us packing the club. But these other real metal bands just fucking hated us. Like, these motherfuckers suck so bad. But we were pulling all these heads in, so we were getting all these gigs. And then I was into it. I was enjoying singing, and I was getting slowly better and trying to learn how to write songs, which I eventually, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I think I'm a fucking super talented songwriter. Like, that's one of my unheralded, I can sing, but you ask Hank Shermann how good a songwriter I am. I mean, me and him put together all those songs just meeting each other, and they're all my vocal melodies, and 3 of them, like, I started the whole song. So um, I pride myself in the songwriting. I just got a knack for it, good
Yeah, you do.
wordsmith and good melody writer and shit. And I think it was my background of listening to a lot of those Dawkins and Black and Blues and Rats and Helix and bands like that weren't super metal, but they were hard rock and they had good hooks. And
Yeah.
so I took those kind of hooks and then into my love of like Judas Priest and the heavier stuff and like to meld that. Like, I like to have a hook in every song that I do, which to me really, really helps um create a song in the style that I like, which I grew up on Metal Church, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Ozzy, all the great shit. Um, and so then I answered an ad, I think, for a band. These guys were really fucking good in San Diego, and I was definitely a fish out of water because I'm like, okay, I can sing, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know song arrangements. I've never been in a real serious original band, and I bonded with these dudes. I'm still really good friends with them. So Eric Horton from that band was called Nomad. I wish we would have kept that name, dude. I love that band
Yeah,
name.
that's a great name.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, we should have. If we would have kept that band together, we would have been fucking humongous right now. But then, so that band eventually fizzled out, and then Dave Garcia was in another band called Crusher. We were kind of like, friendly competition guys, and so they're like, oh, Dave's jamming with some dudes, and so the remnants of those two bands is what would form Cage.
Okay.
Eric Horton eventually joined it, who was in Nomad. Um, and shit, that was in 1992, dude. We're freaking 31 years still fucking with this.
That is crazy. I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, it's that's why like now I think it's okay. I'm taking a break now. It's been 30.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah, and you mentioned Dave, and yeah, what a great guitar player. I think he's kind of an unsung hero. He should be
Well, he's a great songwriter. He's a that guy, big giant freaking muscle freak, and he's
oh
just
yeah,
got
he's
like
huge.
these melodies that he comes up with are just like freaking beautiful, man. He's a melody master. I mean, he just sent me a new song the other day. I'm like, dude, where are you coming up with this shit out of your ass? Like, pretty incredible.
What is kind of the songwriting process with Cage and Death Deal? Like, do you come up with lyrics first? Is it more of a riff driven thing?
In Cage, we used to jam a lot live where we'd like, okay, we're gonna try and write some stuff. And that was kind of cool. Now it's like I come up with a lot of ideas, a lot of vocal ideas. For as far as Cage goes, Dave now writes a lot of stuff and then just sends me a whole bunch of shit. And then I'll fucking cherry pick it and I'll like, I hate this riff, these two, and I'll hack and slash it. I did that in the older Cage albums too. Anthony McGinnis, we don't have no idea where that dude is. He was a guitar player and, Darker Than Black, Hell Destroyer.
Yeah.
He was an incredible songwriter too. I used to hack his fucking songs up. He gets so fucking pissed. But I ended up making like some amazing songs by taking the riffs I liked and trashing the ones I didn't. But now it's like Dave will write a lot of stuff, and then me and Casey get together. He's got a lot of stuff, and me and him just creatively jam together a lot. Dave likes to, I'll write stuff with Dave sometimes, sitting in there with him, like, what about this? And and I can come up with cool vocal melodies on the fly, and then I'll go, oh, dude, go back. Let me fucking. I just had something. I'll record it on my phone. So, and then a lot of times, like, I'll have a not necessarily a word scheme, but I'll have a vocal melody scheme, or I might put some words to it that I'll record. I did that with Denner Shermann, like Masters of Evil. That was my idea. The Pentagram and the Cross was mine. So I sent him just a vocal that I recorded.
Okay.
That kind of shit. So yeah, I come up with a lot. Then I wrote a lot, like the Hell Destroyer song, Hell Destroyer. I mean, I wrote that riff, like, so I'll hum a lot of riffs to the guys and make them, recreate it on the guitar. So I used to do a lot of that. The song King Diamond, that whole thing was mine. So,
nice.
But now it's like these guys come up and they put music together, and then I'll just sing it and we'll hack and slash it. And now me and Stu do a lot of collaborating with Death Dealer, where we'll just have a session where he'll just be jamming, like, oh, dude, wait, go back, on Skype or whatever, on the Facebook phone. So we wrote a lot of songs together just by bouncing shit off each other.
That's cool.
And me and Stu have written some incredible songs. Like I said, the new album's got a lot of really good tracks, and he's super excited about this new album, man. He's like, man, this one's got to be, we got to make sure this comes out right and handled properly. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it will be. So all different ways, but I contribute to a lot of the songwriting.
Nice.
Of course, I do all the lyrics and all the vocal melodies. I don't think anyone's ever written any lyrics for any of the fucking 1,000 songs I've done. It's all like, people are like, hey, check out these lyrics. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Anyways,
I got this.
right.
Nice. That's cool. It's cool. It sounds like it's a very with both bands. It sounds like it's a very organic process. Especially I love the idea of you and Stu just kind of playing off of each other and coming up with melodies and riffs. And
cool thing about Stu, and we like live streamed a couple of the writing sessions. So we'll come up with a thing, and like 2 minutes later, he's emailed me a demo of it, drums,
wow,
fucking everything. And he's like so goddamn fast, it's insane. He'll double track it, like, okay, I'm shooting this across, mate. And then he'll go, can you throw some lyrics, some vocals on it right now? I'm like, fuck, like, all right,
wow.
So because of that, that's why we have so much material. I mean, like I said, Death Dealer 4 is done. 5, we could release it as it is, but we have like 30, we have like probably 20 fully done songs for Death Dealer 5 and like 30 half songs. And they're like, and the half songs, there's like some, I listen to this one chorus called Fire Unending all the time, and all of this is just this chorus because I fucking like it so much. I'm like, fuck, we gotta get this fucking song out. This thing rips. Nice. Fire the engines, let it go. It's fucking sick as fuck.
That's cool. That sounds great. Yeah. I love the EP. I thought that was great. I mean, the imagery, the album cover with the Mad Max kind of vibe, and that's just, I was so excited when that came out. Like, oh, this is great.
People were fucking like, dude, this is pretty thrashy. I'm like, man, we have a song on the new album. It's like 2 minutes 45 seconds. It's like a full-on Anthrax fucking, but it's fucking sick. That's one of the videos called it's about the USS Indianapolis. That was the story that Flint told on the Jaws movie of how the ship sunk and 900 sailors were eaten by sharks and shit.
Oh, that's right. Cool.
Yeah. So that is a super thrashy one, and people are going to hear that and just go, fuck, this is fucking Death Dealer. Like, what the fuck happened? Yeah. So they're going to trip that Ross can blast some of that shit like that.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's what I've always loved about your music, is that you're willing to experiment. And I mean, you keep it in the realm of the Hell Destroyer of Sean Peck, but it's you branch out, you try different things. It's like, I remember trying to, somebody asking me about your band once, or specifically about Cage, I think at the time, and like, how would you describe them? Like, well, I mean, I guess you can, in simple terms, it's power metal, but I hate those catch-all terms. I hate the genre game. It's like, it's just fucking great metal. Just listen to it. That's like, it's just straightforward, in your face, no bullshit, amazing melodies, killer hooks. That's what Sean does. I did want to ask you, I was curious about, tell me about the origins of Death Dealer, because I mean, you guys have been around for it's been like 11, 12 years almost.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
Yeah, I was curious about because it's essentially a super group in a lot of ways, and I was kind of curious, how did that come about? How did Death Dealer come about?
So I had done me and Ben Niebla hooked me up with Stu. Stu's like, hey man, I'm a big fan of Cage. I want you to sing on this Empires of Eden. So we did that song Total Devastation, and it was our first song. Was awesome. And Oh, but before we go on to this, I want to talk about like the Conquered Lands album, like you said
Oh
about
yeah, please. Yeah.
about experimenting and whatever. The most popular song on that whole album was that ballad "22 Gone,"
Mm,
the Soldier Suicide. I mean, that was the
yeah.
one. It was really cool that all the press was like, they got a ballad and it's really fucking good, and um, and the new well, the Death Dealer doesn't really have a ballad. It's got kind of a power. It's not a power ballad, but there's the Cage has got like a couple ballads, and there's some. I've tapped into like doing a couple more emotional songs. I
Oh,
ran
cool.
out of conspiracy theories. I can't sing about the Loch Ness monster or the Sasquatch, so there's some freaking heavy emotional songs coming your way, and they came out really good. I mean, at least I don't do many of them, but when I do them, I think they're freaking super strong. We've got one
Yeah.
about losing somebody, to dying, and then we've got another heavy like breakup song, and so that kind of shit coming your way. So yeah, I
Cool.
was stoked that ballad. We really felt strongly about that 22 Gone Soldier
Oh,
Suicide
great song.
one. And there's a video out there that someone just sent me where there's a guy who reviews first impression videos, and he watched the video of that song, and he was a ex-military, and he's just like, it was like, I don't know, 45 minutes, and he's like stops at every line, and he's just choked up, and
Wow.
it was heavy watching that. So anyway, it was
Yeah.
cool to see that we could, you can move some people like that sometimes. But anyways, how the band started, we had done the Total Devastation song off the Empire, his first Empires of Eden. So Stu was the guitar player of Dungeon, and he kind of left that band.
Mm.
Very popular band from Australia. They toured with Megadeth. Really high energy, high powered. Again, heavy power metal band, and we kind of hit it off as friends too. Like, I like talking with the guy, and we're similar ideologies and similar ideologies when it came to music. We both love Priest. And then so we did that song, and I could tell he always wanted me to be in a band with him, and I'm like, dude, I got I get everything I need out of Cage. And one day we were sitting, then I think I did a second song for him, and then we were just sitting on the Skype talking one day, and he's like, if we could make a band, like, first he called me up, he goes, hey dude, I got a killer name for a band, Death Dealer.
Mm.
And I go, dude, that's already fucking taken. He's like, no, these guys, they abandoned it. They're not even using the name. It's some Canadian band, which is real. They put out two really good records. That original Death Dealer is pretty sick.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then I looked up the trademark. I'm like, fuck, I can grab this trademark right now. And he's like, well, like, who could we get in the band if we could have like the dream band? So we started with a bass player. Like, who's a bass player like anyone would even give a shit about? And then we're like, and he had just been down here and hanging out with Roy Z and Mike Davis. Mike Davis, the bass player of Halford, Lizzie Borden,
Yeah.
lived in LA. And it's like, what about Mike Davis? And so he called Mike Davis, and Mike's like, yeah, fuck, I'll be in the band. And then we're like, whoa. And then we're like, well, what about a drummer? And I go, well, I was just talking with Rhino from Manowar, and so we called up Rhino on the spot, and he's like, yeah dude, I'll do it. So we were just kind of doing it as a joke, just to put together a super group on paper, uh for the fun of it, as we were drinking one night on Skype. And then he's like, well, what other guitarists? I go, well, what about, KK Downing would be my first choice, but we could probably never get him to do it. And he's like, what about Ross the Boss? And I go, well, I know Ross. We talk on Facebook all the time. So I was not really a Manowar fan or like a Ross the Boss fan. Like, I didn't, but Stu is a humongous Ross the Boss Manowar fan, like fanboy shit. So I hit him up. I go, hey man, we got a super group: Rhino, Mike Davis, me, Stu Marshall, and we need a second guitar player. He's like, okay, I'm in. And so we're
Wow.
just laughing, like, dude, we got this band. What the fuck are we gonna do? Like, I guess we need to write some songs. And so me and him, like, we put that album together, like literally, like, wrote it and recorded it in probably 60 days.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and War Master is sick as fuck.
Yeah,
And
great album.
then we said, hey, so they came out here. We did some rehearsals. We played Mexico, LA, San Diego, and one other little shitty club. Had a blast. People loved it. Playing these shows, no one knew who the fuck Death Dealer was, any of the songs. We did Hail and Kill was the only cover that we did. And then we got an opportunity to do the open for the Metal All-Stars, which was insane. It was like a 10-show arena tour. Wow. So we went straight to the fucking arena. It's like
that's wild.
Yeah, you know, Ross is like, nobody does this. Who does this? And so, but he was in the Metal All-Stars. So he was playing, and it was like Udo and Joey Belladonna and Zach Wilde. It was supposed to have Phil Anselmo and Vince Neil, but they flaked out at the very last minute. But it had all kinds of other people, you know, all kinds of lower level Metal All-Stars. And that tour was, I'll never forget that thing. That was insane. Moscow, St. Petersburg.
Wow.
Fucking all Eastern Europe, Istanbul, you know, Bulgaria. The first show in Sofia, Bulgaria was just insane. I got a million stories from that whole trip. But so we were playing, you know, a full 45-minute set opening for the Metal All-Stars, and people didn't know who the fuck we were. They knew, you know, who Ross was, but with songs no one had ever heard, and the crowds were going fucking apeshit. I'm not even just saying that as like, oh yeah, the crowd, you know, everyone says the crowd loved it. No, these people were freaking the fuck out. Yeah. And we're just like, dude, we got something going on here, man. And so then we, you know, we did the Motorhead cruise. We did a, you know, European tour, and then some other stuff. And then we kind of, you know, all got busy on our own shit. And then we're like, me and Stu kept writing songs, but we hadn't had a time where we could get back together and play live again. Ross has been busy, and so Ross stole, you know, Steve Bolognese, the drummer, who he eventually replaced Rhino. Right. So he got into Ross's band, and now he's out of Ross's band, and Ross has Sean Elge, my Cage drummer, in his band too. So he's stolen both my drummers. But with this new album, you know, we're talking about maybe 2024 playing live again, and there'll probably be a demand for it since we haven't played in forever. It'll kind of be like a, oh yeah, you know, be like a cool thing since no one's seen us in forever.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I have to circle back just for a second. Your impersonation of Ross was spot on.
He was like, he'd be on stage like, I'm playing songs I hate. Who does this? Sean, we're going to the front of the line. It's a disaster. Yeah, it's a disaster. Anyways.
Yeah. Nice. You sound exactly like him. I interviewed him a while ago. That is spot on. That is a great impersonation of Ross. I love it. That is great. Man, yeah, I can't wait to hear the new material. That's going to be so cool. So is I have to ask, so is Warrior still a thing? Is that still
you know, they asked me to fill in because, you know, the original singer wouldn't fucking, they had like, you know, they were going to play Keep It True, and he wanted all this fucking money and shit. And they called me up like, hey man, do you want to do it? And I'm like, I know one song. Actually, I knew two songs. They, you know, Warrior asked me to sing After the Dark and the Black album. Joe Floyd, because I was recording it in his studio. Joe Floyd asked me to sing on the Wars of Gods and Men album.
Oh, okay.
And I had all kinds of shit going on. I was like, you know, with my chick, and I said, I want $10,000 or I'm not doing it. And I wasn't really that excited. I just came off Darker Than Black, which is a masterpiece. Okay. And then I heard, no offense, Joe Floyd, but I heard that material. I'm just like, I like two of the songs. So anyways, they got Mark Storace to do it. He did a really good job. And then, you know, a few years later, hey, do you want to do the show? Like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So I learned the stuff. We went out and there's a lot of funny stories with them. We played a local show here in San Diego, you know, as a warm up. It's supposed to be a secret show. And I go to, I drive up to the club, secret show. There's a line out the fucking door. It's sold out. I'm like, what the fuck happened to the secret show shit?
Yeah.
Like, this is the fucking like the biggest show I played in a while, and that went over really good. And then we went out and played the Keep It True, and that went over really good. And then we started actually writing songs. We had like 4 songs, and then Joe's he was working on his Echophonic. He's got a huge guitar company where he makes guitars with a built-in speaker and amp.
Oh wow.
He finally perfected that. So that kind of takes up all of his time and everything. But when Rob Farr passed away, the bass player, recently, we got back together and we did a tribute.
Oh,
There's like a tribute show for him. It was really cool. And dude, we were better than ever. And it was like, really, I'm like, dude, we gotta fucking, I was having fun doing the songs too. I was really enjoying performing the songs. And then so and the guitar player AC, he's back in Lizzie Borden, and he lives by me, so we hang out all the time. But I don't know. There's I keep telling Joe, like, well, why don't we just do a song or something?
yeah.
Because we had a couple that were almost done. Dominion, there's one called Dominion I really love, and but I'd be down to play some more shows, because like I said, I had a blast. And the cool thing about with me being the singer is the original singer, he refused to do anything that he wasn't on.
Hmm.
He refused to do any of the other record stuff with Rob Roth
Right.
or Mark Storace, and I loved all that shit. There's a lot of good songs off those records. So I could play the old shit, the new shit, and when I performed them, they were songs that had never been performed live. The
Oh,
ones that I did. So my version's the only version, and my version's the best version, anyways. I mean, let's be honest.
it is. It is. It definitely is. I don't want to keep you all night, but I was definitely very curious about your involvement with Denner Shermann, back in, when was that, 2014, 2015, 2016, and that era. How did that come about? How did you get involved with those guys?
I just saw a post on Facebook, and they're like, Michael Sherman, Michael Denner and Hank Sherman are doing a record together, and I messaged on Messenger to Hank Sherman, like, hey man, big fan. I'm a singer. Like, if you need somebody to sing on, I'd love to try and sing on a song, blah, blah, blah. It'd be an honor, blah, blah, blah. And then he got back to me and said, like, yeah, let me see, when we get closer, I'll let you know. And I was like, holy shit, Hank Sherman. I was all fanboyed out. Hank Sherman wrote me back. And then like several months later, he's like, hey, are you still interested in singing a song? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. So he sent me War Witch. First he sent me War Witch. He's like, this was a song Dave Mustaine was going to do before things got weird, in quotations.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay. And it was like a full Priest thing. I'm like, yeah, I can fucking kill this. He goes, well, try this one. What about this one? And that was the Satan's Tomb song, which is a freaking amazing track with those guitars that open it up. So I got it and came up with the chorus. The funny thing about that is that song is like part of the Hell Destroyer story. So I just wrote that piece of the story in between. It's kind of the resurrection of, Satan's tomb is where they fucking buried him. And so little do they know, I put some Cage mythos into the Merciful Fate mythos. And I recorded the chorus like right away and sent it to him like 2 hours later. And I was just on pins and needles, like, fuck, I hope he likes this. I was tripping out. And then he wrote me back and said, hey, do you want to just do the whole EP? And I was just like, fuck yes, I do. Yes, I will do all the songs. I want the whole EP. So, and then I think Denner's son told Denner about me from the song King Diamond, Cage song King Diamond.
Okay.
And Denner really dug my voice. And then, so when I got, the first time I met him was at that Titans of Metal thing. Like they were playing and we performed, no rehearsal, nothing. We were sitting in, their flight was late. So they literally got there 2 hours before we were supposed to play. Wow. And we did Come to the Sabbath, Paranoid, and was it Evil? I think it was Evil.
Wow.
No rehearsal, zero. That was our first. Nice to meet you. We're in a band together. Now we're gonna go play in front of all these fucking people, and we killed it. It was fucking. There's videos of that online. That was great. So, and then hit it off with the guys right off the bat. I brought a lot of fun into into their whole fucking world. Got Hank Shermann out of his fucking shell, and then me and Hank really became like an incredible writing team. Man, we were just because he would send me shit, and then I would send it to him. I'd send him material back really quick.
Cool.
And he liked that, because he's in there like all fucking day tweaking on this shit. And so instead of not having to wait a week to get some stuff, like next day he had vocals and all kinds of new shit to play with. And so the EP came together quick. Then we did the freaking 8-song Masters of Evil album really quick. And we were on a roll, and then, getting all kinds of offers. And it's a shame, man, that band, that we couldn't have kept that together. And now, how Hank kind of fucked over Michael Denner.
Yeah, that's a weird situation.
So there's some negativity there, but we had I haven't talked about. We can break some more. Fucking why not? We're here. I'm not going to be doing any interviews anytime soon. But so we had when the news came out. This will probably make blabbermouth if we get this story out. When the news came out, well, basically, I called Hank and Michael up, and I go, "Hey, I got a U.S. tour for us. It's good money. You don't have to do shit." We had been in a hiatus for several months because Michael didn't want to do this, and Hank fucking didn't want that. They're really, paralysis by analysis guys. I'm like, it's not that fucking complicated. So after some time passed, I go, "You don't need to do shit. I got a tour. All you got to do is get from your fucking hotel room onto the stage. If there's good money." And then Michael was in a whole fucking different headspace. Like, I'm fucking ready. My playing is sharp right now. Let's do a U.S. tour. I'm fucking totally down. So we call Hank, and Hank's like, "Sounds great," but he's like, "I'm going to be probably busy for the whole next year." And I'm like, "The whole fucking next year? Like, what, are you back in Volbeat or what the fuck?"
Yeah.
And so I called back Michael, and he's like, it's like, "I don't know what it is unless he's going to do Merciful Fate with Mike Weed." I'm like, "There's no fucking way they're going to do. What are you talking about? How that wouldn't even be a thing." And then Hank's like, "Well, give me like a week, and then till the news comes out, and then you'll see what I'm talking about." And then it was the Merciful Fate reunion, and right when I saw it, I fucking called up Michael. I go, "What the fuck is going on, dude?" He's like, "I don't know. They didn't call me. They didn't tell me." He's like, we had a blood pact. Like, we wouldn't do any Merciful Fate reunion without the both of us.
Yeah.
And he fucking, he stabbed me in the back. So I hit up Hank, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, King fucking said it's this way or no way." And then they had some, Hank, had some really unkind fucking emails. That was just like, and I was team Michael because I'm like, "Hey, dude, that is a fucking bullshit. You at least call the guy and go, 'Hey, I'm sorry, but King Diamond won't do it with you. I need the money,' because I know Hank did, because he was broke as fuck. And so I don't blame him for having to get, not having any money. Right. And it was probably a big payday, but the way he handled.
Oh.
So that, so then, I'm talking to Denner, and he's like, "Hey, Pete Black just called me and said, why don't we fucking do something?" And I was like, "Oh, fucking real," because I was thinking about that. So then the three of us started talking, and then, Pete called one of the other usual suspects that would be in that group, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be down." And next thing you know, we had a group, and we were going to do it, and then me and Pete. Actually, we have a name for it. We had a logo. We have an album cover. We have all this shit. And me and Pete recorded 3 full songs, and then we had like half of another one. Really fucking good. Really old school King Diamond shit. And we were like full steam ahead. And then Pete moved back to Sweden, and I haven't heard from him in like 6 months. He won't return a fucking call. I don't know what the deal is with this guy. I released a like minute and a half snippet of one of the songs, and the reaction was fucking incredible. So I don't know, man. If I don't hear from Pete, I'll probably just put those 3 songs out on the fucking internet for the fuck of it. If nothing ever happens with this thing. So I don't know, man. It's just irritating. The guy, me and Pete hit it off, man. We were like talking every day and fucking 2 peas in a pod. And then, he's doing, the only thing I can think is that, he's doing stuff with, I know he's his best buddy, LaRoque, and I'm sure he's got visions of trying to get the classic King Diamond lineup together. And I'm not King Diamond's favorite person. I've done a bunch of videos making fun of him too, which are check out YouTube/Steel Cartel. They're pretty fucking funny. So I don't know. That is another thing that could have been great. But maybe Pete will put an APB out on Pete Black. He's been known to do this kind of shit, so I don't know. People warned me, but the songs that we recorded were fucking great though. So
yeah, I'd love to hear that.
This is I'm gonna probably, last time I threatened him with releasing the songs, he's like, just fucking hold on, man. I'm gonna record an album and you can sing on it. I'm like, well, let's work on them fucking together, dude. Because I've been known to write some good fucking songs, and you necessarily haven't been known as the greatest songwriter, but I can take you there.
Yeah.
And the lineup that we had to do it would have been, the tour would have been another super group from that whole King Diamond Merciful Fate family. So
wow.
We'll see what happens, man. It's a shame. That was something I was really excited about, and then he just fucking I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, let's
call me, Pete.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, that sounds incredible. I would love to hear that. That sounds fantastic. Well, Sean, this has been an absolute honor and a pleasure chatting with you tonight. I'm beside myself with excitement to hear the new material coming out from Cage and Death Dealer. Hopefully it won't be too long from now, so which will be great to hear. I can't wait. I'm hoping to see you back on tour if we can pull you away from comic books for a little while.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I get it. That's a very fun rabbit hole to go down. Oh,
I gotta let you go.
Pardon?
I gotta let you go, man. That was great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cheers. Have a great night.